Welcome to the Cox Inspirational Student Heroes Award Celebration. You're going to meet some outstanding local students who have overcome great challenges in their lives to achieve greater success in the classroom. Get ready to meet this year's Cox Inspirational Student Heroes.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2016 Cox Inspirational Student Hero Awards program. I'm Cam Johnson. I'm the Manager of Public Affairs for Cox's Southeast region, and we're so glad that you're here with us today to celebrate these amazing students. This is always one of our favorite events each year, a chance to recognize and honor the students that don't always get their opportunity to be in the spotlight. The Inspirational Student Hero Awards was started over 20 years ago in our New Orleans, Louisiana market, and now we celebrate our heroes in several markets across the Southeast. To date, we've recognized almost 4,000 Cox Inspirational Student Heroes from Lafayette, Louisiana to Macon, Georgia. And today we're excited to add 33 new names to that list. We are honored to recognize these students today as they have overcome incredible obstacles in their lives to be recognized by their schools and their peers as heroes. While their challenges may differ, all of them have one thing in common. They are truly inspirational, and we are humbled by their drive to succeed. Of course, this program would not be possible without the support of the Okaloosa County School District, and I appreciate all the schools that did nominate a hero today. I'd like to invite Superintendent Mary Beth Jackson to the podium for a few words. Superintendent Jackson.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. Of all the things I get to do and all the places I get to go, this event, these children, it changes you. It makes you realize who the real heroes are. And I have a little grandson that's 3 years old, and he was born with a malignant brain tumor, and he struggles every day to walk, to talk. But I watch that little fella, and I sit back and I go, you have more courage, more guts, if that's what you want to say, than I will ever know or ever have. And for that reason, I am so grateful to Cox. These students we're going to honor today, I'm going to leave here inspired. I can go do my job better because of these kids. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. This is Caden Cooper, and he is a fourth grader at Antioch Elementary. Success in life or in the classroom is not a matter of luck, fate, or circumstance. Is it a matter of vision and desire? Therefore, to lead a successful life, one must clarify the vision of their future to the degree that it motivates and gives the desire to achieve it. Miss Bloomer and I have had the privilege of teaching Caden this school year, and the above statement sums up his character. Caden is a child who has had to realize at a young age that the gifts in life are neither promised nor handed to you. Caden has become a hard worker who has learned that effort and perseverance are the keys to life. Caden's attitude wasn't always a cheerful one. Now he is an outgoing, charismatic child. At the beginning of the year, Caden lacked perseverance, a positive attitude, and the ability to make wise choices. Through the support of his classmates and fellow teachers, Caden has turned himself around and proved to us that perseverance, along with an open mind, can change outcomes. Caden Cooper.
I am very excited to be able to tell you a little bit about Bryce. Bryce entered Baker School's second semester of his 8th grade year. You could say he was a frequent flyer in the guidance office. For cool downs, of course. During his academic career, he attended the schools Northwood, Shalimar, Antioch, Walker, and Meigs. And as we talked to prepare for today, he mentioned a few teachers and administrators who may be a bit shocked to see him standing here today. I won't mention any of the names that he mentioned to me. As our superintendent refers to some of our students as the ring-tailed twisters or a little whippersnapper, that was Bryce. But we're here today because he has overcome behavioral and academic barriers. He no longer makes excuses for himself, and he encourages his peers to not make some of the mistakes that he has made. He also has the best manners. When I asked him around 10th grade, we started not seeing Bryce so much, and I asked him, I said, what was it that turned you around? And he said that he realized that today is going to impact tomorrow. He wanted tomorrow to be a positive impact. Baker School is very proud of Bryce Cox, and he receives our Cox Inspirational Student Award this year, and he will graduate with a 2.8 GPA, and we are very proud of him.
Good afternoon. I'm Amy Clue, principal of Blue Water Elementary, and I am pleased to present to you Kevin Wong, a fifth grader from Blue Water Elementary. Kevin has been at Blue Water since kindergarten, but I first met him when he was in first grade when I came to school to be the assistant principal. Kevin and I got really close in second grade, almost a first name basis, because we saw each other quite frequently. It was during this time that Kevin and I began to discuss the word self-control. And we would self-control. Kevin, what am I going to say?
Self-control.
Self-control. Literally from that time forward, every time I would see Kevin in the cafeteria, at PE, anywhere, he would look at me and say,
Self-control.
self-control. Kevin and I had a dry spell where there was at one point in time that had been so long between visits when I went up to him and I said, Kevin, what's the word? He said,
Self-control.
we eventually got to self-control, but we had several spans in between visits. So we haven't seen much of each other over the last few years because I have made it my mission to set him up for success. Right, teachers? Right, classmates? When I nominated him this year, and his teacher is gone on a field trip to Disney World with Ruckle, so thank you for Ruckle, because now I get to cry and do this. When I nominated him, his teacher was quite surprised because he has made such great academic strides this year, and he makes such good choices. That was her exact words to me. Really? Kevin makes such good choices. In fact, I have an example, and we like to call it text evidence in our neck of the woods because we back everything up with text evidence. So yesterday on the bus ramp, the fifth graders were waiting for a bus, and they were literally all over the place. And there was Kevin standing by his teacher away from everyone else. And he looked up at me and said,
Self-control.
self-control. He told his teacher that he wished he could go back to second grade and redo it because he would have made different choices. Kevin, your sweet little eyes and face. You are proof, you inspire me because you are proof that it's worth taking all the extra time to create classes. And when we look at each child's name, say, what does Kevin need to be successful? You are proof that educators can make a difference. You may think that you don't get noticed much, but you're going down in history today. Kevin, I am so proud of you and all of the kids that have been nominated today. And I can't wait to hear about all of your accomplishments at Ruckle. Congratulations.
Every accomplishment starts with the decision to try. Tramari had a difficult first 2 years of school, making positive choices when it came to his behavior. He spent many days in the office or STP for classroom disruptions. Tramari made the decision early on in second grade to be responsible for his own behavior choices. He went from 11 referrals to no referrals. He is also a positive role model for students having similar difficulties he experienced in his first 2 years of school. He always has a smile on his face and encourages his classmates to make the right choice when confronted with a challenge. He continues to maintain excellent academics, and Bob Sykes is pleased to have Tramari represent us as our Cox Student Hero.
Audrey Simmons is a 6th grade student at Brunner Middle School who is worthy of being a Cox hero. This is Audrey's first year in Okaloosa County as she moved here from Alaska in August 2015. Audrey is a hearing impaired student from birth and uses a cochlear implant device to hear. Not only has she had to make the school transition to a much larger facility, but Audrey has also had to learn to change classes and adjust to her acoustic surroundings in new environments. This has been a difficult challenge for Audrey, especially when she only relies on technology and lip reading to understand spoken language. Audrey is considered a full auditory oral student and does not rely on a visual language like sign language to communicate. Audrey has learned many coping skills in the mainstream setting to overcome the barrier of her hearing loss. Throughout this transition, Audrey has maintained a positive attitude and demonstrates good self-advocacy skills. It requires effort over and above that of a student with normal hearing to gain all the information presented in class to keep up with her peers. Audrey is a positive example of perseverance and determination to all her peers. Audrey is a Cox hero.
Hello. One of the perks of living in a small community is getting to know its members. Stephen's grandfather, Hugh, was my t-ball coach. I also grew up with his uncle, Hugh, and his mother, Martha. And I even taught his uncle, Matt, as one of my first years as a teacher. So I knew Stephen as a baby and as a big-eyed toddler. And so I was around at about age 6 whenever there was a tragic event that happened in Stephen's life that I remember well and he remembers. It was a tragic event in which 4 of his family members were involved, his immediate family members. There were 4 of them, and 2 of them died, including his baby sister. His mother ended up in a wheelchair, unable to speak, and now Stephen had a paralyzed right arm and leg and a bullet permanently lodged in his brain. He moved back to our local area, to Shalimar, where he attended Shalimar Elementary, he attended Longwood, he attended Meg's, and through all of that, I watched him. I watched him from a distance, and I watched him grow, and I watched him become more and more agile. The doctors, when all of this happened, told him he would never walk again, he would never speak again. But his grandparents and Stephen, they thought otherwise. And as you can see, they were right. His grandparents taught Stephen to walk, they taught him to talk, and they taught him to face life's challenges. His educators through the years did the same thing. And I sat and I waited and I waited and I couldn't wait for him to walk through the doors of Choctawhatchee High School. Finally, he did. And as a 9th grader, he came to Choctaw. For the first 2 years, he still had the bullet lodged in his brain. And because of that, he suffered a few bouts with meningitis as the fluid built around the bullet. Those were the only days he missed of school, because he was there every other day. He was there. And when I called his grandmother to find out what I could do on those weeks that he was in the hospital, he would say, "Tell her to bring my homework. Tell her I want my assignments." And I would say, "Well, Stephen, just don't worry about your assignments. It's okay. You don't need your assignments. I want my assignments. I want my work." And so I would, bring his assignments, and he would make sure that his work was done and he was caught up. He worked in Miss Barker's class working on the sugar plum shop. He would carry boxes out for people who would come and buy crafts. He would work on the cookie mixes for people so they could have sugar cookies at Christmas time. He would do everything that he could possibly do. He was there to greet all of us as we would walk in the door. He's the first person that we would see every morning. After 2 years, he told me that he was finally old enough that the doctors felt that they could remove the bullet from his brain. And so that first day of school, 2 years ago when he was going to be a junior, he was there to greet me on the first day to tell me that they had successfully removed the bullet, and that now, because his coordination was improved, that he could join our junior ROTC program. And he was so proud. He was so excited he was going to be able to do that. He wanted me to take a picture of him that first day and send it to Jerry Sansom, who is now the principal over at Choice, and to let him know that he no longer had a bullet in his brain. So we did that. We sent it to Mr. Sansom. One of the things that I remember best was that his sophomore year, he came in and I was talking with a student. And it was a student who had a truancy problem, who skipped school all the time. And Stephen came in to say hello, and I had Stephen sit down and talk to that student. And I said, "Stephen, tell him why you enjoy coming to school so much." And Stephen just sat down and started talking about coming to school, why he never wanted to miss school, how much he loved school, and how much he loved getting an education. And that student just sat there and listened to him. That student graduated last year, and at graduation came up and told me how much that talk meant to him. And he said, "I didn't miss another day of school. I never skipped again." And I asked Stephen yesterday if he remembered that conversation. Do you remember me asking you? He doesn't remember that conversation. He said, "I don't even remember anything about that conversation." He doesn't even remember it because he changes lives every single day without even knowing it. Just people that come in contact with Stephen are changed by Stephen, and he doesn't even know it. With ROTC, he has blossomed. Under the guidance of Major Bates, Sergeant Shepard, and Chief Washington, he has been responsible for 25 other cadets. He has participated in numerous community service hours, supporting deployed military members, assisting at football games, parking cars, cleaning the environment. He assisted in leading the Fort Walton Beach Holiday Parade. He's even taking a social media class where he builds slideshow presentations for public use. This year, a really cute girl asked Stephen to homecoming, and he went. He even went to grad night this year at Disney World with our senior class. He's also become the man of the house these past 2.5 years since his grandfather passed away, and he helps his grandmother by mowing the grass and helping to grocery shop. He helps around the house. He helps his neighbors by house sitting and pet sitting. He does things that anybody needs him to do. He would love to become a policeman, like his Uncle Matt, who works for the Highway Patrol. But if he's unable to do that, he would like to do something that involves helping people. He loves our deputy, Tom Henry. He's one of his role models. He wants to do something that can help people. So I can tell you this. The hallways of Choctaw are going to be much emptier next year without Stephen Lyle. The administration, the teachers, and the students, we're going to miss his smile. and we're going to miss his optimistic nature. We're going to miss seeing someone daily who, despite living through such tragedy, sees such joy in getting an education and having friends and helping others. But somewhere in our community, there's going to be a business that will be extremely lucky to employ Choctaw's hero, Stephen Lau.
Good afternoon. This is Tyreek. He is a 10th grader at Crestview High School. Let me tell you about our first conversation with Tyreek. It was a very fiery, very shaky, very truthful conversation. Was not afraid to tell me the good, bad, and the ugly. And Tyreek visited me a lot when we first met, but something stood out about Tyreek. There was something there that made this guy special. And I talked about him with the other administrators. And in one of our conversations, I remember talking to him, and I said, Tyreek, you've got some grit, determination, and tenacity. You're not afraid to speak your mind. You've got things that leaders are made of. If you can overcome your personal struggles with your family, the behavioral issues, the many disciplinary actions and referrals that he was coming in with, very struggling academic grades, you're going to be okay. You're going to make it. And this year, I'm proud to say that Tyreek has no disciplinary referrals. Tyreek has straight A's. Tyreek, and I believe this through the guidance of Mr. Bernard Clark, has bought into the things that I told him and will one day in our community be a fantastic leader. And I can't say how proud I am of the accomplishments that he has made. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I would first like to congratulate all of the heroes here today. I've been given the privilege to introduce to you today Drew Bearfield. As a 6th grader, Drew came to Davison as an active member of the cross-country team. And I, along with Kathy Morris, coached the Davison Middle School cross-country team. Drew is a very well-rounded young man, very active in sports and school, church, and family activities. A sudden tragic boating accident in Choctawhatchee Bay on June 28th could have, and some say should have, taken his life. But instead, it brought his family and our community together in prayer and hope. His spirit of determination to live and bear witness of the power of God's love, healing, and strength has been an inspiration to all of us who know his story. Drew went through numerous surgeries and painful setbacks on his road to recovery. He conquered and surpassed all the expectations of his doctors and his nurses. His never give up attitude and his fight to succeed, to walk again, was what made him successful, all through going through tremendous pain. After months in the hospital, Drew was able to return home. He was motivated to catch up with his classmates. He continued with his academic requirements at home, all the while going through physical therapy, numerous doctor's appointments, traveling, having different surgeries, learning to walk again, going from wheelchair to walker to crutches to one crutch, and then on his own. Less than a year from the incident, he was able to return to Davison for some special events that we held just in his honor. And he was able to rejoin the band for practice after school. band is Drew's love as well as cross country. Drew was able to return to school this year as an 8th grader, as well as with his classmates, with awesome grades, by the way. Drew was also able to return to the cross country team. We started out slow. And those of you who know anything about cross country, we practice in the heat of the summer, and we compete right when school starts. So we didn't let him go too fast. We had to start slow. He practiced every day, running right along with us. Talk about inspiring. We were all inspired. He completed and competed in every meet this year. Each run, he improved his time. Each day, he ran smiling and encouraging each of us who ran with him, never complaining and enduring pain himself. I remember when we went to the county meet this year, he said, "Coach, I want to finish the race, and I don't want to be last. That's my goal." You made your goal, didn't you, babe? Drew will never know how inspiring he has been, not only to myself, but Coach Morris, to his teammates, to his classmates, to his teachers, to our community. Drew, we love you, and I'm so proud of you.
Before I tell you a little bit about Claire, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. This is my first year at the elementary level, and I have people ask me all the time, "How do you like elementary school?" My comment is often, "How can you have a bad day when all they want to do is make you happy and smile?" And this is one of the many reasons for that right here. I want to tell you about Claire. This is Claire Collins. I want to tell you where she is now and kind of back into her story. I looked at your grades today, Claire, for the year, and you've had all A's and 2 B's. She's in the 3rd grade. Tough year for our elementary kids, that transitional year. I'm told that she has participated in a couple of 5K events with her mom. And her teachers say that she's not a friend to just a select few, she's a friend to all. And often she takes on the new kids in class and befriends them as well. So she's the epitome of a student we love at Destin Elementary. She's been with us for 2 years. Previous to that, she was homeschooled. And it's the story that took her into homeschool that has really touched my heart, because we do have a similarity, but we've never talked about it. When she was born, she had a very serious heart issue. I think it was diagnosed at age 1. Well, they had to get Clara strong enough to undergo some major surgery. At age 4, that was the time. Clara was on a heart-lung machine, major open heart surgery, and that was why she was homeschooled for the next 2 years, because they were afraid of infection and just building her strength up to get to the point where she could take school. We love Clara. I love seeing her smile. I love her hugs. And Clara, I love you.
Good afternoon, this is Sonny Taylor. He's a 5th grader at Destin Middle School. We're a uniform school, so the kids wear Destin Middle School shirts every day, so I never see him dressed up. Look how sharp this kid looks. This is the best dressed man in this room right now. So Sonny came to us from an alternative education setting, which came with some concerns, and did a little research, and it was, concerning to say the least, but he was at a new school with a fresh start, and we were ready to go. Unfortunately, some of those behaviors came back to light pretty quickly. And, Sonny, within the first few weeks of school, was disrespectful to students. He was disrespectful to teachers. He showed zero interest in learning, and things were not going well. After, multiple disciplinary infractions and consequences and numerous talks with mom, we finally had to have that meeting that a lot of us administrators have to have with the parent. And we call Miss Serena in, and this was the meeting where we put the piece of paper in front of him that says this is a behavior contract, and if there's another issue with Sonny coming to the office, then he's no longer going to be a student at Destin Middle School. We're going to have to refer him back to his alternative placement. What happened in the next 10 minutes was the most powerful parent conference that I've ever been a part of. So Sonny's sitting there, and I say all that, and he looks kind of non-empathetic, whatever. And Miss Serena, his mama, looked at him, and she started crying, and she said, "Why are you doing this to me?" And so that got me emotional. So then I said some things, and she said some things, and we were 1-2 punching this kid like it's never been done before. And I don't know exactly, because a lot of things were said in those 10 minutes, but something clicked with this kiddo. And when he came back the next day, I got the first comment. Sonny had a good day today. A couple days later, Sonny turned in some work today. A couple of days later, Sonny helped another kid today. And that has just progressed and progressed to the point where, the interest in learning is what we really wanted to drive into Sonny. We had him acting better, but now we need to get him interested in learning. And everyone has a lot of things they're going to remember from their educational careers, but I will never forget DEA Test C Day. DEA Test A in reading, Sonny was a level 1. Test 2, level 1, not showing a lot of growth. Test C, I exit office, headed to the cafeteria, and my man was waiting for me to come out of PE, and he runs to me with his sheet, level 3 DEA Test C. Mr. Morello, there it is. So I'll never forget the smile on his face, to where you could see that something had ignited, and now my man had an interest in learning and acting right and doing the right things. This is a work in progress, right, Sonny? There's absolutely bumps on the way that have happened, but we're working together and we're doing great things, and we are just, from the transformation he's made from when he started to where he is now, is truly why he is our Cox student hero. So, Sonny Taylor.
On behalf of Dr. Samantha Dawson, our principal, and Mrs. Christina Clark, our assistant principal, it is my honor to present Addison Moore. She is here with her teacher, Barbara DeVoe. When Addison started with us at the beginning of this school year, she was not able to walk. She scooted along, and she was transported from area to area in a stroller. As you can see, she is walking. This year, she is excited to be at school. She wants to be actively involved in all the activities in her class. That laugh right there will tell you what a joy she is to be around. She will vocalize her desire to be involved, and she clearly expresses herself if she feels she is not being included. Addison comes to school with a smile on her face, with a positive attitude, that joyful laugh you heard. She loves greeting the older students in the hallways at school and at lunchtime. As she walks down the hall, she greets them, high fives them, smiles, gets hugs. Just spending time with her brings smiles and joy to our school. Addison's determination to be independent is a driving factor in her personal progress and growth in just this year. We can't wait to see what other amazing accomplishments Addison will achieve in her future, and we are proud to call Addison Edge's Cox hero.
This guy. I think he does stuff to himself just so he can overcome it. He recently broke his ankle. Last year he battled cancer. I'd choke up. But this kid's a fighter. And all those teachers out there knowing that the last 13 days, my kids are going out of control. I miss this quiet soul. There's several kids he's able to work with one-on-one. He just provides a calming spirit, and they miss you. And I miss you too. I wish you were back. But I did bring you some homework. Sorry. And you can get through that. He's missed a lot of school. He overcomes it. He fights it. He comes to school and says, "Where's my work at, Mr. Anderson?" And, "All right, buddy, I got you covered." And I'll give him a stack of work. He will knock it out and be back. I can't even tell this kid's missed a day of school. He's a hard charger. He misses school. That's the first thing he said to me. "I miss school." He's bored. I said, "Well, I'm gonna cure some of that boredom today. We got some science, got some math for you. I know you're gonna knock it out and be ready for whatever comes for you next." Christian Moreno is a great student. He's a conqueror, Christian the Conqueror. I know you're gonna be back next year. I'll see you, and we'll fight another year through. Christian Moreno.
Jenna Kearney is a bright and happy fourth grade student who enjoys friendship and helping others. Life seems pretty easy for her, but it hasn't always been that way. She moved to Eglin during the end of her third grade year. Her father is in the military and was transferred to our base. He's a single dad raising a sweet daughter who was born with several disabilities. During the beginning of her fourth grade year, her baby sister also came to live with Jenna and her father. This single dad has been involved in Jenna's education from day one. She has worked extremely hard to overcome her disabilities. Since she came to us from out of state, she had to learn new strategies to be successful with the rigor in fourth grade. She has really put forth a tremendous amount of effort to get caught up on these skills, and now she's one of our top iReady students. She continues to learn and advance. Today I'm very proud to present Jenna Kearney, Eglin's Cox Award recipient.
Good afternoon. Unfortunately, Kamari's teacher could not be here. She's celebrating graduation of her son, but that's okay because I know Kamari pretty well. Last year I knew Kamari really well. I spent lots of time going to Kamari's classroom and having Kamari with me quite a bit. I could call home and his mom would hear my voice and say, "What did he do now?" And this year I've had lots of opportunities to find his mom in the office or give her calls and give him compliments for his behavior. I want to share some things that his teacher said because this is the most important thing for him. Kamari's road to third grade has been somewhat rocky. He, however, has risen above his past experiences to become a model student at Elliott Point. After a difficult beginning to his educational career, Kamari joined Ms. Garner's class during the second 9 weeks grading period this school year. He was at Elliott Point, went to Shalimar, and then came back to us. He joined the class with an enthusiastic ease. In other words, he fit right in with such a small amount of adjustment. He participates in class and small group activities. He has such nice manners. Kamari has a real sense of fairness. He is resilient, yet sensitive to others. She also stated that he always goes above and beyond. He comes to school early to be a part of the track club. He's very kind and he does not like to see others treated unfairly. He will stand up for other students even if they are not his closest friends. This year when I was doing observations in his classroom, I went away from watching the teacher for a while because I was so fixated on Kamari and him working in his small group with a very challenging student that was maybe a little bit like Kamari the year before. And I was glowing watching how he had changed, where he was being the leader in his group and encouraging other people. And I know I called his mom that day just to say how proud I was. Despite Kamari's educational hardships, Kamari has thrived and inspired us. He's taken his personal situations and soared above them. He has not made excuses, but he makes steps towards success. And this is a little situation that his teacher wanted me to share, and he shared it with his class, so I don't think he will mind. Kamari is repeating 3rd grade this year, and he shared that information with his entire class in early March. And after they finished the FSA practice test, he raised his hand and asked if he could share something. The teacher was very surprised and awed when he addressed the students and gave a testimonial that she says she wished she had captured on video. He shared that he was repeating the grade. He told them to take the test seriously and work hard. He said, quote, "Stop playing in class and work hard, or you will be in 3rd grade again." His talk was sincere and from the heart, and she could tell that it made a big impression on the other students in the class. It certainly made a big impression on Miss Garner. What a risk he took, but he was rewarded by the response he received. It was a heartwarming moment. I am very pleased to recommend and honor Kamari Wise as Elliott Point's Cox Hero.
Jonathan has asked me to read everything on the slip here, so I've got my glasses on so I don't leave anything else. Jonathan Mick is a person who considers others before himself. He loves his school community and family. When he sees a person in need, he doesn't just let them slide by. He thinks about their situation, and he wonders, how can he help? An excellent example of this is his work running a lemonade stand in the summer. A few years ago, he realized that some of his friends at school didn't have the school supplies that his family was able to provide for him. He decided to raise money by making a lemonade stand and selling lemonade to his neighbors. "I thought that lemonade is a delicious drink, and I wanted to serve it to people, even strangers," he told a reporter from a local newspaper. He set himself a goal of $135 and worked until he met it. Last year, his reputation for helping others brought donations and cards from beyond his neighborhood. Ex-teachers wrote him notes and donated to his cause. Family members and friends from Facebook even helped in meeting his goal. This is Jonathan's most important character trait. When he sets a goal for himself, he perseveres. He looks for solutions. He seeks help if he needs it, and he meets his goal. His 4th grade teacher said, "His positive attitude inspires others." As Jonathan began to interact, other students began to recognize his strengths, both academic and emotional. His 1st grade teacher remembered his wonderful imagination. She remembered one time as he was describing a long family trip by car that he decided to call the highway the Billboard Road. She said they had a wonderful conversation as he elaborated, and they found that they had both traveled the same road. Several teachers expressed appreciation for his friendly greetings and mature interactions with adults at school. Jonathan has been working hard on self-control since kindergarten. He has come a long way. He now has many tools and strategies for coping with stressful situations. What used to send him into a meltdown, that would be fire drills, right? Meltdowns. Now has him raising his hand for assistance, pulling out a good book to read, one of his favorite things to do, or returning to a frustrating task at a later time. His grades are outstanding, and he performs well on achievement tests. Jonathan is proud to serve his school on the safety patrol. He enjoys helping others and reminding younger students of the need to walk safely in the hallways. He participates in a regular rotation of duties around the school. Asperger's syndrome is certainly an impediment in life for many, many people. Jonathan and his family have worked to minimize the effects of Asperger's on Jonathan. Setting goals, making himself try new things, practicing skills until he is fluent, reading harder and harder books, listening and following the guidance of the adults around him, and knowing that people often have to adjust to their environment, so he must try to get along, are all things that have helped Jonathan to excel in the school setting. Jonathan has not let Asperger's get in his way. He thrives on the challenges in his life. Jonathan's raising funds and buying school supplies to help students at his school are examples of his thoughtful regard for other people's needs. He particularly wanted to provide them with drawing and writing supplies because drawing is another of his favorite activities. Many students have benefited from his kindness and focus on this goal. He's my hero.
First of all, thank you very much for having us come tonight. We are honored to be here, and thank you for letting us represent Fort Walton Beach High School, Mr. Spolsky. AJ, unfortunately, for me, I don't get to teach AJ. I know AJ from the hallway, and it's really fitting that he has wheels, because last year I got this award by Mr. Spolsky that I'd be the most likely to skateboard down the hallway, and I got caught today, red-handed. And AJ he's got it. And he comes down the hallway every morning as an inspiration. I started this thing where I would be on Wednesdays. Guess what day it is? Guess what day? I even have this, what's the camel's name? Gaylord the Camel. He's the mascot of a Christian college up in North Carolina. So I started doing that. And the next thing you know, I'm in class one day teaching, real stressed out. The kids are all stressed. We're studying for an exam. All of a sudden we hear this, guess what day it is in the hallway? And the kids in the class are like, it's not you. It's not me. Who is that? Guess what day it is? It's AJ. He comes wheeling by. Guess what day it is, Mr. McElroy? And the whole class, hump day. And I'm like, oh. The other history teacher, McElroy, you got AJ all fired up, and now I can't get him settled down. I'm like, yeah. So then we had to change that up, because that was driving everybody nuts. So then Ace Hardware commercial, neighbors, every Friday, the weekend is coming. Mr. McElroy, get your conch shell out and blow on that and tell everybody that the weekend's coming. So I stopped kind of doing that. I got, next thing you know, the weekend is coming down the hallway. So then the whole class starts up. The weekend is coming every Friday. So we will be there tomorrow, Friday, second period, class change. What are we going to be saying? Hold on here. This has got to come out. Guess what, neighbors? The weekend is coming! That's inspiring, folks. That's inspiring. I also looked at his grades. He's in 10th grade. They're better than mine were when I was in 10th grade. A's and B's and C's. I'm extremely proud of him. He's taken honors English classes, honors level courses, and does extremely well in those. And he genuinely cares about his fellow students because he gets the door for them. He waits outside the front of the school and welcomes them to class with Wednesday or the weekend is coming. And then says goodbye to all of them too. So I'm inspired by AJ, and he has a great impact upon the student body at Fort Walton Beach. Thank you very much for having us. AJ.
So he moved Monday, and it was devastating. He's a great kid. Kalen was born without both of his hands. However, he didn't let this affect his life at all. In fact, he didn't even have a 504 until this year, and that was because of the typing on the FSA. He learned that his impairment does not limit the things that he can do, and he's constantly teaching everyone around him that hard work and a positive attitude is what makes someone successful. Kalen has a positive outlook in life and is constantly seeking ways that he can improve in all areas. He tries to take all of the negative in his life and turn them into positives. His ability to ignore the fact that he has a disability has spread to his classmates. We now don't say can't in our classroom at all, because Kalen has taught us that if there's a will, there's a way. We've watched Kalen's compassion and positivity to allow him to do everything a normal 10-year-old can do. He does not have adaptive PE and participates in all of the same activities the rest of the students do. He's currently reading at a 9th grade level, and he won the Kenwood Elementary School Spelling Bee in 2015. He also participates in the math club and the running club, and he is the most amazing artist you've ever seen. He can draw without hands, and they're picture perfect. So that's why we nominated him to be our Cox Hero Award, and we're gonna mail it to him.
Gracelyn is an excellent student who shares with and cares for others, especially those experiencing problems. She's loyal, she's kind, she's the kind of person who never hesitates to help her friends or anyone else if they need it. She always has a smile on her face, is willing to motivate others with words of encouragement. She's truly an inspiration. Gracelyn has always been determined to succeed. Her strong work ethic and countless hours of commitment to her academic studies, both during and outside of school, show her can-do attitude and her refusal to give up or to give in. After a little academic trouble in elementary school, Gracelyn was determined to make up for it by taking several online classes in addition to a full load of her traditional class schedule. She's often worked on weekends, after school hours, and even come to school on teacher work days to complete her assignments. Even with such a full schedule, Gracelyn also manages to find the time to be a varsity volleyball player, basketball player, and a cheerleader. Another aspect of Gracelyn's personality is her ability to overcome difficult situations in life. As someone who is known for having a huge heart metaphorically, Gracelyn also has recently learned that she has an enlarged heart and must undergo further testing to determine the severity of her condition. Over the years, she's undergone some other personal situations that could have caused her to give up as well. But no matter what her problems or her situation, she's always managed to put her education first and to maintain her positive attitude. It is because of her positivity and willingness to help others that makes Gracelyn a friend and a confidant to many students at Laurel Hill School. She has the ability to make everyone, especially students who have trouble fitting in, feel welcome and supported. She is always encouraging and a true hero. And she is our Laurel Hill School Cox Inspirational Student of the Year, Miss Gracelyn Lewis.
This is Shay. He's a 7th grader with us at Lewis. Now, I've had the privilege of having Shay in my classroom for the past 3 years. He came to me as a 5th grader in the self-contained ESE classroom setting. Shay is a perfectionist. There is no one harder on Shay than Shay himself. With that perfectionism, though, came serious self-doubts. He would get an assignment and then become so overwhelmed because it had to be done perfectly, and he would shut down for a while until he regained composure and began again. But he still needed direct teacher reassurance to complete everything because it had to be perfect. I have Shay as a 7th grader now in my reading class. That's not the Shay that I see anymore. He is a role model to everyone. He is an excellent student, often on the honor roll, and he doesn't really ask for help anymore because he knows he has it right. Shay is a blessing at Lewis. We are lucky to have him, and we are so proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you to Cox and those involved in giving us this opportunity to recognize our students. As a teacher, oftentimes it's a difficult job trying to please everyone, and it can be thankless, and then we get these students, and they remind us why we do this job. So I had to think about all the things that have been said about the students, and Isaac himself has been through a lot of loss and tragedy as well, as many of the other students have come before. We try to focus on all the positives and hope for the future, and I thought about what the word hero means and how it relates to Isaac. And so, digital age. H, he is humble. E, every day he shows up with a smile on his face to bring joys to others. R, reading horrible, hairy books is his favorite thing to do. O, others admire him for all his strength and the things he's been through and see his determination. And so we're so proud of Isaac at Longwood Elementary. We're honored that Isaac's presented with the Cox Hero Award. Isaac Merritt.
David Quintanar has such an impact on everybody he meets. Not only is he supported here by his current school at Mary Esther, but his former school has sent some teachers to support him as well from Destin. That's pretty impressive, and he is an impressive guy. He entered Okaloosa County Schools in kindergarten. He has been very successful. He's followed in the footsteps of his brother Mike and Jonathan. Clearly, the Quintanars believe in the importance of education and the importance of a successful education. In 2014, David was diagnosed with cancer. Although his attendance has been impacted from the course of treatment, he has always maintained a high academic standard. David is currently the only fifth grade student at Mary Esther Elementary who has been on the all A honor roll every 9 weeks. David's, yeah, take a minute. David's strong will and his strong character have kept him pushing forward in spite of his medical concerns. Now, I had to have this written down. Y'all might not even believe this part right here. Okay, it's one thing to value your education and want to be in school. Even during FSA testing, David insisted on coming to school to test the day after one of his chemo treatments. He is an inspiration to students and to his teachers. With these kind of character traits, David will continue to be a hero to many people throughout his life. David Quintanar.
This girl has got moxie. I mean, this is probably the most positive person that I've ever met in my life. You can't tell her that she cannot do anything. This is the sixth grader. As a sixth grader, she was the one at the dance that was on the walker and dancing with everybody. All right? She can do anything. I am totally convinced that she can do anything, no matter what. She lives by faith and she leads by example. When Larissa gets up in the morning and makes her lunch, well, she doesn't just make her lunch. She makes extra lunches because she knows if she doesn't bring extra lunches to school, that there are some kids that aren't going to eat lunch that day. This is service before self. She's a giver. One day in my class, one of the kids was asking me, says, "Coach, you got anything to eat? I'm starving." We didn't have anything in the house to bring for lunch. Well, of course, Larissa digs into her lunchbox, and before he's even done talking about it, her lunch is in his lap. So he ate well that day. My classroom is called the Swamp. That's where gators hang out. And this lady right here is what brings the sunshine into the swamp every day. It's not the same when she's not there. It's not the sunny place. Now, don't let this sweet, innocent young girl appearance fool you. She is a competitor and a conqueror. And if we had more Lissy Graces around, we wouldn't have world hunger, or we would have world peace. Give me one of her, and she's taken over Meigs Middle School. Give me 10 of her, and we got this world conquered. It is my honor, and it's a blessing to be in the life of this young lady and to be one of the lives that she has changed. And she is a hero and a blessing. Listen, Shaw.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Matthew Wynn. Matthew is an amazing young man. His background is Matthew's vision was severely damaged at age 3 when he was in an accident. The result of that car accident that took the lives of his father, his brother, and his grandfather. He also suffered a traumatic brain injury, which not only impacted his vision, but also his memory. Matthew has learned to adapt to his vision and memory limitations. He's maintained an amazing GPA of a 3.53 and challenges himself by taking rigorous course load to include honors level courses and our robotics. Matthew never lets his disability prevent him from doing things. We've never heard him say, I can't do this or that. He attacks every task with a positive and upbeat attitude, and that's why we've nominated him as Niceville High School's Inspirational Hero.
Good afternoon. I am very proud and honored to present Ethan Highland as Plu's Cox Award winner. Ethan is in 4th grade, but had a bumpy start in school when he was in kindergarten. He had a hard time with changes and transitions. Ethan had a difficult time understanding social cues from his peers. He struggled with expressing himself and communicating with others. He was easily agitated in the kindergarten classroom. Ethan was nervous, compulsive, and shy. Ethan was serviced at another school to work on these skills, and when he returned to Plu, his transformation took place. Today, words that describe Ethan are perseverance, kind, helpful, cheerful, considerate, and friendly. Today, Ethan here greets all of the staff each morning at breakfast with a huge smile, a hug, before he heads to his classroom. In his classroom, he's eager to please his classmates and his teacher, Mrs. West, each day. Even when Ethan comes to an obstacle, he will continue to work with diligence until the task is complete. If you visited his 4th grade classroom, he would greet you with a smile, possibly hold the door open for you if he was near it, without even being asked. Ethan takes pride in working with other students and helps other students reach their potential. It is the way that Ethan loves to work as part of a team now that inspires others in his class, and his teachers look to him as a hero. Ethan Highland is Plu Elementary's Cox hero. And Ethan, I want to thank you for showing us your kind heart each and every day. You bring even me a smile when I need it the most. Ethan?
Good afternoon. This is Joseph Weeks. He's a 6th grader at Pryor Middle School. It's my honor to introduce him this afternoon. Joseph has been in the foster care system for the last 17 months. Needless to say, he's had some trials over that time, but through that, his teachers have expressed that he is always positive. He has maintained all passing grades, and he is one of the most helpful students in class. We're extremely proud of him. I do want to say recently, though, this is exciting that Joseph, his older sister, and his younger brother are going through the adoption process now, and that family is here, and I appreciate you guys being here tonight as well. So, I introduce to you one of our finest students, Joseph Weeks. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. When I first met Emmanuel, he was in a regular gen ed 3rd grade classroom. I was a VE teacher. He was struggling at the time. I believe a lot of that had to do with the fact that he had cystic fibrosis and had just undergone a liver transplant. Big changes for a little man in 3rd grade. So he came to my class, and he tried very hard to do everything that he could. He was still struggling with his lungs. He was still having a hard time breathing. So thank goodness he was able to be put on the lung transplant list, and he had a double lung transplant done. This little man has got more spirit, more smiles, more guts than most adults that I have ever met in my entire life. Whenever he's faced with any kind of obstacle, he does everything that he possibly can to try and do his best. And even before we got him put on special standards, he would say, "Miss Messick, it'll be all right. I can do the DEA. It'll be all right, Miss Messick." He was comforting me instead of me comforting him. So he is Riverside Elementary's hero, our inspiration, and Emmanuel, you'll always be my hero.
I was blessed 4 years ago when I walked into Rocky Bayou Christian School to walk into another teacher's room and see the cutest, quietest little girl sitting in the corner. I said hi to her and she gave me a smile. It was later that day that I found out that Michelle, who we all lovingly call Shelley, suffers from selective mutism. Over the days, I began to say hi to Shelley more and she would smile. The next year I would say hi and she would respond back, "Hi, Miss Wilson, how are you?" When the teacher she trusted was gone and she was scared to go to choir, she came to my room one day and said, "I don't think I can do this." And I calmly held her hand, was able to pray with her, and we discussed the amazing young woman she is and the gift she is to all of those who know her, and she went to choir. 2 days later, I found her and asked how it went, and she said, "Oh, it was no big deal." 3 years later, I was faced with something and overcome with so much anxiety I didn't know what to do. And a little voice in the back of my head, that was Shelley, said, "It's no big deal." Now before me stands an amazing young woman with a huge potential who is going to graduate in a few short weeks and complete a feat that some thought she wouldn't at a certain age. But thanks to the love and guidance of her parents and their dedication to help her achieve her potential, Shelley is going to go into the world and impact it and make a difference that I could only dream of. So Shelley, I thank you and I thank all of the students here. I have a shirt that says teachers are in it for the outcome, not the income. And the outcome of watching you, Shelley, is worth more than any amount of money on earth to me.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Cox, Ms. Jackson, Okaloosa School District, for supporting this event. It is very important to be able to do this. It's an honor for me to present to you Gage Carter, Ruckel's representative and Cox hero. Gage is a 7th grader at Ruckel. He came to us last year as a resistant learner. He struggled with reading, struggled with math, was resistant to what the teacher wanted him to do. He was disrespectful to his teacher, disrespectful to his peers, and disrespectful to property. In fact, he spent many days in STP. This year, he comes to school with a purpose, a smile on his face, and has had 0 office referrals. Not only that, he's an example to others in class about how to work hard and how to be a good citizen. His teacher that nominated him, Donna Barnett, could not be here today, and so she made some notes about Gage that she wanted me to read. Let me say this other thing about Gage. I get to see him almost every morning to start my day. He's part of a group that collects the attendance cards in the morning, and every day I see him, he's smiling and he always greets people politely. So his come around has been tremendous. Ms. Barnett starts off with this statement: believe you can and you're halfway there. Theodore Roosevelt. This quote from Theodore Roosevelt describes Gage. He never gives up. Gage has had many obstacles in his life, but he continues on with a smile on his face. He loves and appreciates everything he has, and he cares deeply about his family and tries to do well for them. Gage realizes that he has difficulty with reading and math in school. He tries hard each day. If he doesn't get something correct, he always says, "That's okay. I'll try harder next time." There's good growth mindset for you. Gage's grades, attitude, and behavior have made a 100% turnaround this school year. He started 6th grade as a non-reader without any comprehension skills. Not only has he made significant gains academically in math, spelling, and language arts, he has made a complete turnaround with his behavior. Last year, he spent many days in STP. This year, he's not had a single office referral. Outside of school, he's joined a basketball team and recently received an award for a Youth Basketball Most Christ-Light Award from his church. Gage has challenges with learning and behavior, but he does not let that stop him. In fact, it makes him try harder. He has proven he can learn and do things well. He always appreciates time with his family and makes sure to always include them in his thoughts. He is proud of his family and speaks highly of them. Gage has a lawnmower, and as a part-time job, he'll go after school on the weekend and mow lawns for neighbors to make extra money. Gage always offers to help his teacher or other students. If you drop something, he will pick it up without asking. He is always asking if he can help with anything that's needed. He is a sensitive person and thinks about other people. He appreciates everything he has. Gage has empathy toward others and represents Ruckle Middle School's core value so very well. So I'm proud to have Gage as Ruckle's representative for the Cox Hero Award. Thank you.
This is Juliana. Juliana came to us in kindergarten, and she's in 3rd grade now. And when she came to our school, she knew 2 phrases. She knew thank you, and she knew my name is Juliana. She came to us from Russia. Her dad and her mom came over, and her dad actually came to start the first Russian Baptist church in Fort Walton Beach. And she spoke those 2 phrases. Mr. Williams was there with us, and we quickly figured out we needed some Russian translation software or dictionaries or something, because the gain of her language was so fast, we couldn't keep up with how fast she wanted to learn. She exited the ESOL program within a year. She reads well above her grade level now. She's made straight A's and B's, and she has just come so far with her English speaking. I think she probably knows more words than some of our adults do. And she's a reader. You don't see this child without a book in her hand. Her teachers are here with me now, and every teacher is just amazed at how quick she is picking up on everything. She scores level 3s and 4s on DEA. She's reading 4th and 5th grade level books. She's very talented. We found that she brought some talent with her when she came. She makes all of her own jewelry and all of her own bows. Is that right? Maybe. Okay. She's got a personality that doesn't quit, and she makes us smile all day long. But she wants to tell you something.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to receive this award tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. It's my honor to present Bella Evans as our Cox Inspirational Hero. I am the new principal of Shoal River Middle School, so I haven't had the pleasure of being at the school the entire year. I will tell you a quick story. My first couple weeks walking in the halls, I didn't get a lot of smiles from the students. Kind of like, who's this guy walking around the halls asking for my pass? But every time I walked past Bella, I had a big smile. She had a big smile. And so after that, I affectionately started calling her Smiley. So my guess is tonight, if I say Smiley enough, you'll see that big bright smile. Bella came to this country from Haiti, and she had some issues with the adoption that brought her to this country. Through that process and through the circumstances following the adoption, she became emotional and had some behavior issues. She is now in a loving home that supports her, and we have found a huge turnaround. She is now very supportive of all of her classmates, welcomes them to school every day, shakes their hand. She has turned in 100% of her assignments, and her goal is to have all A's to one day be a teacher. And I'm sure as a teacher, the most important thing will be that big smile every day. Bella Evans.
Okay, I'm introducing Brendan Fleshman. He's a graduating senior at Silver Sand School. When a group of teachers came to me and they suggested that we have Brendan as our Cox hero, I said, well, okay, but why are we choosing him? And I found out that at one time, Brendan had a lot of issues with frustration and behavior that I had not had the privilege to see. And so, me being able to introduce him is a privilege. A lot of other teachers have formed a lot of the behavior. But just to let you know a little bit about Brendan, he never gives up. Even though he's nonverbal. He struggles with intellectual disabilities and autism. And even though he cannot communicate verbally, he will communicate with you or whoever else is listening. As long as that person is paying attention, he'll keep trying. There was a time, like I said, that he struggled with extreme personal frustration because he did have such a lack of ability to communicate. It's very frustrating if you can't tell somebody what you want or how you feel. And that would cause a lot of aggression. He had self-aggression and aggression to other people. Fortunately, I've only seen that once. And he's been in my room for, 3 years or so now? I made this statement. His extreme frustration would often manifest itself as physical aggression toward himself and others, caused primarily by his inability to communicate effectively. But being a person with intellectual disabilities and autism spectrum disorder did not help matters at all. In spite of his challenges, Brendan has developed into an extremely happy, as you can see, and friendly young man with several classroom friends. And I had an example I wanted to share because this happened just fairly recently. We were making a transition outside the main building. And I have helpers assigned to help other students that have problems with transitions. And an assigned helper student was holding the other student's hand. That was her assigned helper to help transition her. And the student began having some difficulty. And she needed a little more assistance to transition with us. And Brendan just walked over and he very gently took her hand, the needy student's hand, and to assist them. And they all three walked back to the classroom holding hands. And the two helper students were just grinning so big. I've got a picture of it. It's just the greatest picture. But anyway, I'm very proud to introduce Brendan Fleshman.
So on behalf of our principal, Mrs. Avery, and the faculty of Okaloosa STEM Academy, I would like to introduce Audrey Peasley, our Cox Inspirational student hero. She is a daughter of Mr. Timothy and Mrs. Carlene Peasley of Crestview. As Audrey's English teacher, I've had the joy of being a part of Audrey's 7th grade journey. I know Audrey to be very creative and expressive and a gifted young woman. But above all, I know Audrey to be brave. When most students were enjoying their spring break, Audrey's mom lost her battle with cancer. And some would say that bravery is facing a difficult situation and without showing fear. However, I would say that Audrey's bravery was determined and expressed in spite of her fear. And although there were many, one of Audrey's brave moments was when she shared some of those fears with her classmates while analyzing a Shakespearean sonnet. I was so proud of her. Another brave moment was when she performed at an Odyssey of the Mind competition without her mom cheering her on from the front row. And I'll never forget her laughter while they were trying to drive her team's creative superhero bike contraption-y thing dressed as Batgirl with her best friend Raven, who happens to be here tonight, by her side. And that's the picture that's in your program. We've got her all dressed up. I thought that was appropriate. Sorry, Audrey. You can get me back later. Okay, so a final brave moment, though, was when Audrey accepted the American flag for her mom's military service to our country, concluding her mom's funeral. And Miss Avery and I sat there speechless. Although we cannot prepare ourselves for some of life's hardships, we do choose how we respond to them. And Audrey responded to this year's roller coaster ride with honesty. She looked fear in the face, and she did not give up. Audrey has taught us all how to be brave, and she is our hero. Thank you.
Jamar Jones. He came into our 5th grade classroom this year with a chip on his shoulder. He'd been known around the school for his behavior issues, but I'm proud to say he has had not one referral this year. He has really turned himself around. As the first few weeks of the school year progressed, Ms. Williams and I, as his team teachers, both began to see this big toothy smile coming in every day and his attitude changing, as well as his academic efforts beginning to shift. As a matter of fact, just recently when we were taking our end of the year DEA testing, he came in and said, "I'm ready to take that test today, let's do it." So we did. He made extreme growth from the beginning of the school year until where we are right now, and we are so proud of him because he's worked really hard, both academically and with his attitude this school year. When he first came in, he didn't really have any goals, but now he talks about learning a personal trade, and he has plans for running his own business in the future. He understands that he will still have some academic challenges, but he's eager to meet those challenges and his positive outlook for his future. Jamar is our inspirational hero at Walker. His teachers, our administration, and his mentor, Mr. Hayes, all love you dearly, Jamar. And we know that you have a bright future ahead of you. We are proud of you, Jamar, as our hero.
If we could, let's give all of our heroes another round of applause, please.
Thanks for watching the Cox Inspirational Student Heroes Award Celebration. From all of us at Cox, thanks for watching.